something in the water. There's something in the air. The proof is all around us.
It's not a matter of time.
Howdy, everybody. It is I, Jesse Blaze Snider. Today, we're going to tear the mask off of one of the oldest tricks in the motherfucking book, the Archons. What are Archons? Well, you've heard their names whispered through history, dressed up in 1,000 different costumes. They've been called Archons in Gnostic texts. Djinn, I'm pronouncing the D, the djinn, in Middle Eastern lore. Demons in Christianity. Asuras in Hindu tradition. Trickster spirits in indigenous teachings. Shadow beings, louche harvesters, even the so-called Satan, or the devil himself. Modern ufology sometimes repackages them as parasites, interdimensional entities, or the gray overlords. But at the root, we're talking about the same thing here. Disembodied energies that only exist in the spaces where we let them squat. Let me repeat that. They only exist in the places where we let them squat. Here's the truth. They have no inherent power here on Earth in physicality. None. The only power they've ever had is the power that we give them. We, physical beings, we give these disembodied energies power. Like a rabbit's foot, a cursed coin, or some sort of haunted artifact. If you believe it has power over you, then it does. But that's your energy fueling it, not theirs. The Archons and all their masks are nothing more than mirrors for misplaced belief. They are the parasites of permission. The Gnostics understood this. They described the Archons as counterfeiters of reality. They mimic, they whisper, they distort. They thrive on fear, on worship, on obsession. They trick you into thinking you're powerless, so you'll hand over your sovereignty to them. Every story of Satan tempting man, every demon demanding sacrifice, every spirit that feeds on attention, at the root, it's all the same scam. And today, we end the scam. This episode is about disempowering the disembodied, naming them, exposing them, stripping away the glamour and superstition, and reminding you of the only truth that matters. You are the power source. When you stop feeding them, they starve. When you see them for what they are, nothing more than empty echoes dressed up as monsters, you remember who you are. So buckle up. By the time we're done today, the Archons and every mask they wear will have no more sway over you, because you'll know the game. And once you see the trick, the magician has nothing left. Let's light it up, people.
If you got a good heart, you better get smart. The devil's all around and not the one you want. This shit is so profound. Let's drink another quart. If you got a good heart, you better get smart. If you got good ears, you better listen clear. All masters at the mic, she's had the sauce for years. She's got you in her sights, the others disappear. If you got good ears, you better listen clear.
Listen, you didn't drop onto Earth to play small. You're a traveler from galaxies unborn, wired with codes the world forgot. Codes that can bend reality, heal bodies and awaken entire planets. But first, you have to remember who the heck you are. I'm Jerry Sargent, founder of Star Magic Healing. Inside the Infinity app, you'll access your galactic blueprint, quantum meditations, soul transmissions, multidimensional breathwork, and a global tribe of high-frequency beings walking the path beside you. This isn't incense and quiet ohms. This is soul surgery with cosmic scalpels. This is multidimensional DNA detonation. This is why you came. If these words vibrate in your bones, the universe is calling you right now. Download the Infinity app or visit starmagichealing.org and step into the new frequency. Your soul's been waiting. I'll meet you on the inside.
So here I am, challenging these motherfucking beings. The Archons, the demons, the djinns. I don't give two fucks. They have no power here. Not with me. Because I know the truth. They only have the power I give them. I've known this truth throughout my coming up into spirituality. I didn't realize what an important truth it was. I didn't realize how empowered I have been going into so many of these situations. Not to say that the Archons haven't been able to fuck with me at various times, because they have. Absolutely. A little whisper in your head, a little telepathy in your head, it usually sounds like you. And the trick of the Archons and all of these energetic parasites is to find the truth, and it's not really truth, until you believe it. They want to find the things that you consider true. With me, they led me to just hate myself for a very long time, because on some level I did. I didn't like certain reactions that I would be given from people. Something like not giving two fucks about some ghosts or some demons, or knowing that I was more powerful because I had a body. That makes other people on Earth nervous. Most people are scared of demons. They're scared of voices, trickery. It moved the can. Oh my God, it moved the can. Oh, I saw a shadow walk through my room. The power that we have over them is to mock them. And when you start to think about it like that, oh my God, it's so easy to fucking mock them. Ghosts want to take possession of your body because they want a body. It's the embodied that have the power. The collective consciousness is not made up of these fucking Archons and what they believe. The collective consciousness that we are all, being steamrolled by in lots of different ways, what the masses believe are being held in place by millions of people who basically are thinking in lockstep. But the Archons, they're not a part of that. They can only influence it. It's just a game of trickery. And because we're living in a mind, we're living in a collective consciousness, if they can fool you, if they can convince you to give away some of your embodied power to their disembodied, stupid, weak asses, then they win. It's like somebody on the phone with you, right? You get a phone call and they're like, oh, your bank account's overdrawn. And if you don't, give us $200 right now, we have to shut down your whole account. Oh, okay, here, wait, let me, don't worry, can I pay with a check? Right? And these people they're not real. I mean, they're real people. I mean, nowadays, half the time they're AI, but the situation isn't real. But the moment you go, oh man, I think this situation is real, and you start feeding it, it doesn't matter if the situation is real. The situation's real to you, and they're going to get paid. You might find out later that it was all a trick, but you already invested your time and your energy into it. And when it comes to these Archons, most people never find out that it's a trick. People die worshiping Baal. Fuck you, Baal. You hear that, Baal? Yeah, fuck you. And your stupidity. Tricking all these people. It's just such a dumb trick. They got nothing. They got nothing but the trick. They got nothing but convincing you it's real. And this goes for so many things. You got a lucky stick. You got a crystal that you like. And, crystals do have some actual innate ability in that they're physical, and there is some support going on. But it's amplified by you believing that crystal is lucky. it's doing something for you. You got a lucky coin. If I don't flip the switch here 7 times before I leave the house, somebody might die. Well, if you believe that, you're using your physical power to create that reality where some of that mathematic is real. Just because you go, somebody might die, doesn't mean that it's not necessarily going to happen. But you are putting a shitload of energy into the possibility of something like that happening. So these demons, they're just fucking prank calling your ass. And you're buying it. I'll start this off before, I wrote down a bunch of different little bullet points to just talk about a couple different things. More than a couple. But I would love to just share like a little personal story. And this was, I don't know, I found this so interesting. There was a period of time with me and my girlfriend where we were kind of like fighting over well, not to say fighting over nothing. There was some circumstances in our relationship that were uncomfortable, and they were making me uncomfortable. Or I was allowing myself, to feel uncomfortable because of some of the circumstances. And I kind of kept circling a drain where certain things would come up and I would be like, oh, I'm upset again, and I would blow my top. And I was in a cycle of blowing my top like every weekend, and it was really driving me crazy. It was just sort of like everything would sort of lead to a certain place, and then I'd get upset all over again. And I'd end up apologizing. I'm sorry, the situation is really upsetting me, and I keep trying to just get over it and let myself, be able to handle it, but I just keep getting challenged. And I had this one weekend. I might have talked about this before on the show at some point, but on the Saturday, or I think it was the Saturday, we'd gone to a show. I ended up like having to go to a hypnotist show, and I didn't get hypnotized, which I think pretty difficult to hypnotize me, unfortunately, because it might be nice to be hypnotized with some interesting things if I was more open to it, which I am open to it now, but it still takes a lot. Getting into a really good state of meditation, it tends to take me a long time. And basically, I was trying to meditate myself on this stage, this hypnosis stage, so that I could get myself into a really receptive state. But it was just too many people around, so many different things, other people's energy and stuff, and I couldn't do it. And I ended up getting so upset. I was like stuck on this stage for an hour, basically pretending, because the guy had asked us, he's like, hey, don't come up here to try to fuck up my show. He's like, some people can be hypnotized, some other people can't. And I convinced this guy that I was hypnotized because I was such a good actor. He thought I was hypnotized. I ended up stuck on the stage for an hour. I was so upset, left the stage, immediately got into a fight with my girl. And that was after spending like a whole week going like, it's not going to happen again, not going to happen again, not going to happen again. So the next day, Sunday, I'm like even quadrupling. I'm like, I can't believe it. It's like a whole week of me. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I'm like, it is not going to happen Sunday. Like I'm not going to get triggered by this stupid situation. I'm not going to fight about this nonsense. Nothing we could do about it. Is what it is. Just got to get over it. So I was getting triggered all day long. But I managed to keep it cool. I kept my cool. I wasn't upset. It's just like, I just went, it's all right, whatever. I kept moving on. However, I was on sort of the verge of like freaking out. And something kind of innocuous got said to me by my girl that had nothing to do with any of the things that I was like, really like upset about or whatever. But basically, she kind of like in a moment gave me like a free pass to righteously be like, what the fuck? That was lame. Like she was lame for a moment. And I went, that's it. And it literally like triggered this massive response in me from all these other moments where I had been like putting like, hey, don't get upset. Nobody needs to get upset. All of a sudden, like I had a reason to get upset. And I pounced on it. And like really way too much. It was really weird, like because it was like kind of a side thing. It was just like a little bit of a door opening for me to like be upset, but it was an excuse to be upset about something that was completely unrelated really to anything that was going on. It like wasn't anything that I was really upset about. It was just like, that's my excuse I need. And I jumped on her, and I was really kind of nasty. And within 2-3 minutes, I already recognized that I was out of line, and it was a bit too much. And I had, once again, I've been begging myself to not react in anger or any of this stuff, and like it just like everything fell apart in like in 2 seconds. I couldn't believe it. So I end up like going to the bedroom with her because she like disappears, like she's all mad at me, and she's like, you know, like gonna be by herself for a second. And I follow her in there, and it's late in the evening, and I'm just like, oh my God, please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I figured it out really fast that I got upset, and I've got myself together, and I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I did that. I'm really at a loss. But like, please don't go to bed mad, and like let's not go to bed like upset. I was trying to quit marijuana at the time, and you know, like I've talked to you before. You know, I still occasionally smoke, but more like meditationally. You know, yesterday I meditated, and I smoked. But not like daily, where like I need it, you know, because my body hurts or because I feel like a little crazy. Like I was using it as an ADHD medicine for my anxiety, for different things, and I was trying not to do that anymore. And when she would, like when we would have a fight before bed and she would go to sleep, I basically wouldn't have like anything to do with myself except for like, I'm gonna go smoke and I'm gonna try to think about this. But like it was like I need, like I was like I would be freaking out, and like I needed to do that, and I didn't want to do it that night. So I beg her, but she's still freshly upset. I mean, I just ticked her off and really like went at her shitty for a moment. And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. So I storm off and go into the garage. And I lay down on the couch in the garage just like to collect myself. And all of a sudden, I feel this energy. It's like really fucking gnarly energy. And I feel it lean against the couch that I'm on. I can literally feel it pressing up against me, against my arm, and pressing up against the couch. Like I can feel and hear the couch denting in from this thing. And I like open my eyes, and I see this blackness curl up like it was like a worm, like it was leaned against the couch, and like its head was where its crotch is, and slowly it pulls its head up its body, but like a snake, where it's just like its spine. I could like feel it like that's what I'm feeling like. And this thing, it pulls itself up into straightness, like 8 feet up in the air above where I'm at on this couch. Now, what I said to you earlier was true. I've known from the very beginning that this was a mind. Not from the beginning of my life, but from the beginning of my spiritual journey. So 29, when I had done the magic mushrooms and I like figured out some of these things, there was a bunch of things that I recognized, and some of it was that that entities and things that were going to talk to me or try to like, you know, discourage me or scare me, that they had no power except for the power that I gave them. I have never been confronted with a demon, a shadow fucking being, whatever the fuck this thing was, in a more intimidating fashion. It was the most intimidating demon who had ever tried to interact with me. But knowing they only have the power I give them, and knowing that like mocking them gives me great strength, because I, you know, used it before by that time. All I could say was, you're pretty scary, imagine. You know, I said, you're a pretty scary entity, or I forget what I said to it. I was like, you're pretty scary. But not like I was scared, but like, I'm impressed by how scary you are, but you know, that's not going to do nothing for me. And 2 seconds later, the door to the garage opens because my girl, she's calmed down, and and I was lucid. I was begging her, please, can we just like make up so that I don't gotta go to sleep sad. And she's a nice lady, so she was like, thought about it and went to go find me. And when she opens the door, it opens so slow, and I hear her go, Jesse, what's going on in here? And I've only been in there for like 2 minutes or something like that. I mean, I literally walked in the garage, laid down on the bed, the couch, and this thing like immediately like was out to scare me. Of course, it didn't work, but my girl was feeling a little wibbly wobbly, and she just went, "Oh no!" So she says, "What's going on in here?" And I said, "Are you fucking seeing this thing?" And she says, "I don't know what I'm seeing, but can you please get out of there?" So I exit, and I've got some tools to get rid of these things. In terms of I don't know. I don't want to call them like spells or rituals and stuff, but things that I will do when an entity or an energy is coming through that I don't like, to banish them and, clear the space or whatever. So I do a whole bunch of those things. Granted, sage, palo santo, those things could be really wonderful tools in cleansing a space and clearing things up. And I do that. And we basically figured out that we had been earlier that day, we had gone to the Queen Mary, which is a boat that is in a port out here in like Long Beach or somewhere near there. And that ship is haunted. And you hear things about that all the time. And my family had some weird experiences on the Queen Mary. And there's a lot of interesting kind of stories of the Queen Mary. And we basically figure out like, this thing like attached itself to me, followed me home, and had been like whispering shit in my ear all day, trying to get me to break. And I didn't all day until that like innocuous thing. She said something and she kind of just left the door open. And honestly, I think it's possible that it could have influenced her to say the thing in the very specific way that she said it, that just made me feel like I could do the thing. These invisible energies, they can fucking open their mouth and say all sorts of shit, and most of the time nobody will know. Most of the time you don't know. You got to be so sensitive to your energy. And I mean, really something that I've done over time. I've become very, very sensitive to my energy. Very sensitive to like, what is it supposed to feel like? What's good energy? So that when like something comes into my field, I can sit there and I can go, oh, okay, I know what's going on here, or whatever. So we banished that thing that night. But as a great example, the other day, 2 weeks ago, and honestly, like this is hysterical to me after all these years. I mean, because now it's a good decade and a half of me studying these subjects and just trying to really be in control of my own personal energetic sovereignty and not allow disembodied voices to whisper bullshit into my ear and to discourage me or encourage me down bad courses of thinking. I had a fucking entity that was with me while I was meditating, and I just assumed it was me. Like an idiot. Like I feel like such an idiot that I wasn't able to figure out that it wasn't me faster. Because it took a while. I was laying down to meditate, and I would have told you that there was like a part of my brain, and next time you ever think, I don't know, there's some part of my brain, it just won't shut up. And it was literally just like babbling. Like it was just like just making noise. And I was sitting trying to meditate. I was interacting with some guardian type beings, some higher, what some people would call aliens or dimensional beings or whatever that are positive. And they ask me usually to try to quiet my mind and kind of focus on being sensitive to what they're doing. And the more I can do that, the more what they're doing will amplify. Like so I'll try to tune into signals that they're sending me. Oftentimes it's like sort of energy healing type things that they're doing to help me. And I was trying to do that. I was trying to quiet my mind and tune into them. And I just kept hearing like a part of my mind, or at least that was what I was saying and thinking, just go, like, I mean, he was almost playing like a shitty song, but it was noisy. And it was like on the right side of my brain, the right hemisphere of my brain, towards the back. It was like in a specific area. And at a certain point, as I was dealing with that for just a little bit, I eventually went, hey, wait a second. Is this even me? And I wish I would have asked that faster and like assumed it sooner. And I mean, who knows when this thing had come on? You know, I only noticed it when I started to try to quiet my mind. And I'm quieting my mind, but there's some energy in my mind and it's not quiet. Well, as soon as I like say this, my guidance, my inner guidance goes, yes, there is. That isn't you. That's some thing you picked up. And so I banish it, you know, like get the fuck out of here, you know, and like that, my mind is quiet. You know, me, I don't have the quietest mind in the world. You know, my brain tends to be going. It can take a lot to quiet me, but from a purposefully noisy, aggravating energy, blip, 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 gone, just gone. Everybody on planet Earth is susceptible to these Archons in terms of interacting with them, whether you end up interacting with them because you drank some alcohol and now the spirits are trying to take possession of your body, are trying to influence you, which it's easier to influence you. You know, like a lot of times there's certain sort of bits of like when I smoke, I'm opening myself up to a lot of these spirits in a lot of ways, and they can, on some levels, they have like more, it's easier for them to mess with me. But also it's harder for them to mess with me because I am an ancient being, and you know, plenty of you guys are, and some of you guys may have the case when you interact with these plant spirits. You've been doing this so long that it actually brings you into great sensitivity, brings you into great alignment, makes it easier for you to notice when something is fucking with you, and makes it easier for you to put away negative energies that don't belong to you. So, you know, keep that in mind. You know, a lot of people who aren't experienced when it comes to ayahuasca or whatever else, ayahuasca opens you up big time. You know, these people will leave Peru loaded with Archons, loaded with energetic beings that are there to feed on you because they believe they're going to be able to. They believe they're going to be able to get something out of you. The majority of these beings, they never make themselves known. You know, if you're not open to the idea that there are shadow beings, like, you know, when Julie had gone, my girlfriend, when she had gone into the garage and she was looking and she was like, I don't know what I'm seeing. What she was seeing was the light being sucked out of the room. These beings, they have very little power. You know, it's essentially parlor tricks that they can do. But something like the light kind of seems to shrink from the room. Like, those are the kind of creepy things that can go on within these situations when you are more open to what's going on. But most people, they're just walking around possessed. They just, you know, they get drunk and they say the wrong thing to their girlfriend, and then like their whole life is falling apart or whatever because they allowed these entities into them. And then they're apologizing for things that they didn't do, they didn't say, they didn't think. Ultimately, they should be apologizing for just being too weak-minded, and too ignorant to the reality of the universe that they're living in. A universe where if you're a weak-willed individual, you might end up with multiple personalities and your freaking eye color changing because the energies, the Archons, the disembodied souls, they want to use your body. And they'll just push you right out of the way and take over. Lots of people who are schizophrenic and, you know, other sorts of crazy, and, you know, I've done episodes on crazy, they're just dealing with invisible forces that they are able to see or perceive in much deeper ways than you and I will. You know, me, I've become very sensitive, so I'll notice these things on one level or another. But there are people who can see all the time, see whatever these Archons want to show them because they're sensitive enough. They're open to visuals and whatnot. And I mean, people can haunted. Haunted is a good word. They will be haunted by these beings. And but every single one of them, I wish I could get into every single one of their ears and say, doesn't matter what they show you, sweetie. Doesn't matter what they tell you. They have no power except for the power that you give them. So don't give them any power. And in fact, the more you can mock them, like when stuff like that happens, I'll put them in sombreros and silly mustaches and, put a dress on them, like all this stuff. Think of something like Baal. If you listen to things about, child fucking sacrifice and things like that, so often this stuff is being done to the god of Baal, right? This visual, what does Baal look like? Baal looks like whatever he wants to look like. He'll tell you. What does he want to look like? He wants to look like something scary. He wants to look like something that will intimidate you. He wants to look like something that makes him appear to you as powerful. So take that away from him. Put a tutu on him. Make him green polka dotted. He doesn't have a body. You do. He's picking and choosing what might be the most frightening form to you right now in your form, the way you're interacting with the world. And, it works. It works good. He's like, ha, 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 ha. I am an evil dragon being. He's not an evil dragon being. He's just a fucking idea. Even the idea of like the differentiation between all of these spirits and stuff like that, I don't even know if it is cut up on the other side of things, or if we're partially responsible for like assigning a spirit, some of this energy to Baal. Some of this energy goes, yeah, that's right, I'm Baal. Kill children for me. Because there's some energy that's going to be released in your energy, and now he's got more power over you, and blah, blah, blah. The more they can get you to act on their behalf, the more they can get you to believe in them, the more power they have. But the power they have is through you, through us, through masses of people worshiping Baal. But fuck Baal. Fuck you, Baal. You hear me? I'm not afraid. I don't give two fucks what that guy's going to do. And in my universe, even beings like Baal, and this might sound crazy to you, Baal, I love you. You're just an energy, man. All of these bad ideas that everybody's been putting into you and all this stuff that you've been encouraging because you've been soaked with bad energy, let's give you something better to do in my universe. I'm going to give you a job, Baal. In particular, Baal, your new job is to make sure that my children, my family line thrive, that they're encouraged. You accept? Yes. So I'm talking to this being, and he says yes. You have the power. Baal's got no fucking power over me. From a place of power, we can talk to these beings, and we can give them things to do. Things that will be wonderful. Baal can enjoy my children's joy vicariously with them as it helps to encourage them. Baal is just a word. And now, Baal means syrupy sweet in my mind. Baal, Baal, Baal. I'm changing the way I say it. I'm changing what it means to me. Baal, Baal. Make sure all of the children are safe and protected, babies. Now, I change and transform Baal in my universe right now. I just did it on the air. There are still people in this world who think that Baal means something else. They can still call forth that thing. They can still be playing with that thing. Because I've changed my universe, my mental projection of my reality, it doesn't mean that it's changed theirs. I could change my universe. I can affect the multiversal experience of all the other Jessies. I can have an effect. I can have an influence. I could assign beings on my end to go do things that might be helpful to the growth and the rise of the vibration of energy for some of these people who are currently worshiping him badly or whatever it is. But we can literally repurpose all these things. My highest guidance now has been that all of this energy is always available. There's all different versions of it in everybody else's reality because you're the one projecting the reality, all these things. And you can take every little bit of those spirits and you can assign them to do things. So like, I got a new car. I assign one of these Archons to watch over this car, to make sure that if I'm about to get into an accident or anything that I'm made aware. So instead of it coming and whispering bad things in my ear, it can be whispering good things in my ear. Granted, you can't do this from a place of, oh, the scary things, and Bal, can you do something nice for me? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of fucking Bal. And kiss my fucking ass. You get it? You get how it works? This is what it means to be mentally strong. There is no idea that can make you afraid. Fear itself is an idea. It's a bad one. And that is what these beings specialize in, feeding you bad ideas. So, as I said in the beginning, all these names are just masks for the same parasite. Whether you call them Archons, demons, devils, djinn, asuras, trickster spirits, shadow beings, sometimes reptilians, even though there are some physical type beings that might be known as reptilians as well. But again, these beings you're not interacting with these things regularly. The things that we're largely interacting with and affecting humanity, it's just fucking shadows, man. The adversary, the fallen ones. They're all the same archetype in different languages, cultures, and ages. Different masks, same powerless parasite. Powerless. He moved a can. Doesn't that sound dumb? He moved a can. He sucked some of the light out of the room. But people will jump off of buildings. People will kill themselves. So many different things. Because they gave their power away to these things. Because these things told them, you're weak, you're small. And those were things that they could believe. During my time when I was still fighting with sort of self-hatred, ultimately it's for being too big of an energy. I'm a big energy guy. I love people, but my energy's too big for people, and it'll piss people off sometimes, and people get the wrong idea about me. I hate that. That killed me. That really made me not want to be alive. It's like, wow, I show up and I try to love everybody, and I really want to play. Just I like people, and let's have a nice time. And then how are they misinterpreting it so bad? I hate this. And then these beings would just take that conversation I was having with myself and just throw it back at me a million different ways until I went, oh yeah, you're kind of right about that. I suck. And in that way, they were defeating me. They were kicking my ass. Even though when one of them, scooted himself next to my couch and rah to this big intimidation thing, that didn't work on me. They couldn't haunt me. They couldn't freak me out. Me and my girl, we live in a house, or I kind of bi-coastal, but the place that we have in California used to belong to her grandmother. There's a portal in this house, and lots of beings and entities, not always bad ones, because there are beings like this that aren't evil. They're good. They're interested. Sometimes there are dimensional beings or whatever else. So I interact with these things all the time. My girlfriend tends to be kind of afraid of them, even though she knows that it's not really she knows, yeah, she's got me sitting there going, don't give them any power and blah, 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 blah. But on some level, she's just very creeped out and it's still crazy to her that this stuff's real. there's really like a thing, you know, I can see a thing. Look what's going on with the cats, you know, and like I tend to be able to like, I can pinpoint these energies and whatnot. And then I'll burn some sage, or I'll just fucking banish them and tell them to get the fuck out of here, or whatever. But, you know, she'll just be a little bit more like wide-eyed, like, this is creepy, this is scary. And it's understandable. On some level, especially based on the traditional way in which we've been taught things, it is creepy, it is scary. You know? Somebody took possession of that girl. Granted, it's the girl who's doing the damage. It's not the being. The being has been given permission by her to use her power to fuck up our reality. But that's not the same as this thing. It muscled its way in. No, it doesn't muscle its way in. It just says the things and is interacting energetically, and you have to open the door. You have to allow them into you. There's what's called like a power exchange illusion. They have no battery of their own. All power that they seem to have is borrowed belief from human beings. Whether it's through worship, you know, purposefully empowering this thing. But even that, most of the people who are worshiping, they're worshiping the thing because they think the thing is powerful. They're told the thing is, but we worship a very powerful. No, it's not powerful. You guys are powerful, and you guys are giving your great power away to this thing. And in situations with something like Baal, you know, whatever, or my new Baal, hello Baal, love you Baal, in my universe. And remember, you guys can do the same thing. You can repurpose these beings. Enough people over time worshiping the same thing, it does give it power. But it's not giving it power. Its power is given by the humans, by the beings that are incarnated. So there's like a perspective to say that like, oh yeah, they're powerful because of all this power that the humans have given it. But really, without those humans directly interacting, thinking that they're interacting on behalf of Baal, you know, if you get a couple humans who are thinking that they're working on behalf of Baal, trying to fuck with you, okay, yeah, well, humans have power. It's just complete bullshit that Baal has any power. And honestly, if you ever get any humans like this, mock the fuck out of them too. You fucking moron. Baal doesn't have any power. He's just a freaking name. He's just an energetic idea. You idiots, you assholes. Fucking giving away your power. You're powerful. And any little interaction you've had with this Baal character that seems like, well, he made me see this and he showed me that. No, that was you. That was you making yourself hallucinate because you believe so strongly in Baal and all these fucking stupidities that you manifested something real because you allowed him, this whispering spirit, this shitty telemarketer or, you know, cold caller who's going to get your money. You allowed them to get your money. And they did. But it doesn't have to be worship. You could just be afraid. You could just be a little girl. And this thing, it's messing with you, and it's telling you all these things. And you don't have Jesse Snider as your dad. You don't have somebody like me who'll go, no, honey. It's okay. You're powerful. Don't let these yucky voices speak to you. As you rise up, especially if you've been dealing with any of these beings, the loved ones around you are often targeted. I've had my family targeted big time by these beings as I finally got myself out of the quagmire. And fortunately, you know, timing wise and personal growth wise, you know, it was a moment, it's been a moment in time where I have just taken all power away from, you know, disagreements or arguments and different things like that. So even though these beings were like causing, let's say, an argument or some sort of doubt in my mom's mind or like put something in her brain that was like really not right, you know, and she doesn't know, you know, like, but influence, that's what happens. You know, all this negativity is coming about. Things have been going really good. I don't really see where this negativity would come from. Here it is. Well, what is likely, because they're fucking all around us, these stupid Archon things. well, they're attacking me. They're attacking me through them. But because I didn't empower these things and I didn't feed into them and it didn't become a new argument between me and my mom, even though maybe she wanted to argue with me in that moment as she was like listening to this voice in her head that sounded like hers but was negative. But I went, oh, sorry about that, Mom. Nothing I can do about that. Similarly, I disempower the Archons through her. I disempower their ability to work through her and to, fuck up my reality in any way, shape, or form. But don't be surprised if you were dealing with some of these things, then all of a sudden, through other means, they're coming at you. Worship, fear, and also fixation. Let's say somebody really freaked you out. A movie really freaked you out. It was all about, or say even some of the Bible freaked you out about Satan, and you're seeing signs in the world that look like Satan is at every turn, and Satan. A fixation upon the thing, even if it's just in fear, which is a big thing, or even if it's just in this thing is real, and this thing is out there, and it's affecting people. Well, through fixation, you basically sign your consent form. Fear, consent. Worship, consent. Fixation, consent. But all of this is a false authority trick. They position themselves as, anything, but, cosmic cops, gatekeepers. If you want the power to be able to do that, you have to give the power to me. Rulers of earth, like, we are the real rulers of earth. I am the one who taught Moses to suck his own cock. Forgive my colorful language, but this is what I'm saying. These beings, they can and will say anything to place themselves into some sort of position of power so that you might bite onto it. And granted, if you're not like a spiritual person, if you're not open up to these ideas and you're more, well, granted, if you're listening to this show, you're probably at least a little spiritual. The interactions that you'll have with these beings are sort of worse because you don't even have any context. You haven't gotten that sensitive to notice that there's a voice in your head that shouldn't be there. You haven't gotten sensitive enough to notice that there's some energy that's weird, or notice that you're reacting differently than you would like to. Or you'll just get drunk one night and you won't remember anything that happened, and you'll find out that, like, oh, you did a bunch of fucked up things, you fucked up a relationship or whatever it is. Okay, there you go. There they are coming at you, and you're probably not going to call them Archons. You're like, oh man, I got wasted, what an idiot I am. And you'll probably blame yourself. Blaming yourself, oh man, what a nefarious situation that is. You do something, you think something, you think you said something, you think you really felt some way, and really, no, it was like weird encouragement, weird energy and influence coming from someplace else. But no matter what they say, they are squatters in your psyche. People who don't own the house showed up to it and are trying to, use it. Really, that's the thing. They want to use your body. They want to use your mind to their ends. A lot of times, it's pretty much as simple as them feeding on your suffering, feeding on your anxiety, feeding on energy that you're generating. Have you ever really sat, like, with anxiety, if you're somebody like me who has anxiety, and, like, you're really freaked out about something, just sat, like, shaking your leg, or just focus, fixated on a thing, just generating energy from nothing? You might have a few Archons show up and start sucking you off. Colorful language again. All of that energy, just pulling it out of you. That's energy. I don't know what to do. I'm frozen here. But there's energy there. Just never forget. Real authority comes from source. And the source of everything flows through you. Now, there's a mimicry and a counterfeit game going on here. The Gnostics like to call the Archons counterfeiters of reality. They distort the light, right? Sometimes they can suck the light right out of the room. They can mimic divinity. You know, they can show you images of, like, they could show you, like, it doesn't have to be scary. They could show you themselves in white robes and all, like they could present themselves as Jesus Christ. There's a lot of different games that can be played to mimic things that might affect you, to counterfeit something that might actually get a reaction out of you. That's because that's what they want. Their trick is, you know, almost real, but never original. Always a copy. They're just trying to use the shapes and imagery of your reality to lock themselves into your reality in a visceral way that gives them access to our reality and control over you. And the more you believe in them, the more you believe that they're powerful, that they have energy over you, that they have strength over you, the more they do. Whatever you believe, you will achieve with them. Now, we talked about the loosh before, which we could call the harvest mechanism. Fear, despair, anger. It is literally food for them. They are feeding upon my anxiety. You know, what is anxiety usually? It's fear. You know, I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to... So, because that is their food, they will cultivate conflict, war, self-hatred. That was the big one with me. They were working on keeping me hating myself, keeping me being upset by my big energy being too much for people, and me not liking that, me not liking to experience that. And they kept bringing me around to different ways that I would look at it, that ultimately I would sort of accept as like some tyranny, some torture that I was under. And then that was it. They had me. Once I accepted the little suggestion of like, you look at it like this, isn't it terrible? I was like, yeah, oh yeah, it is terrible. And then it was true. You got to break the cycle. And just refuse to feed them with your emotion or your attention. You know, I mean, if I give any attention to these things, it's literally just like me mocking them, you know, having a conversation with somebody about these sort of things. And like, I'm very kind of careful what kind of energy, like when I called in Baal before, I was cultivating an energy inside me of my own trickster energy, my own fuck you. Who gives a shit, you powerless little piece of shit? I'm seeing him with little fake mustache on and a sombrero with little dangly balls. And, you know, I'm just visualizing and controlling the energy of this exchange. Now you say, oh, Jesse, you called in Baal, now he's going to hang out with you. Well, he might have, but then I repurposed him. I recognized, I said, the Baal of my reality, outside of the Baal that other people might be interacting with, I've repurposed him already. I gave him a new job to do. And because I did it from a place of total sovereignty, total peace in myself, you know, he could try to fucking aggravate me, but it's a waste of his time. He's really not going to get much out of me. And maybe a little here, a little there, whatever. He will get more joy out of actually interacting with me from a place of love. And I'm sitting here going, hey, man, I love you. Why don't you be a good part of the Matrix? Why don't you work with me here? Help me with my kids. Be a good thing. My kids, help make them joyful. Joy is a wonderful experience. You can feel joy and love through them. There's always more joy. There's always more love to go around. Appreciation, gratitude. That's your new job. And from my place of strength, Baal, the energetic being, goes, all right, fair. I wouldn't be able to get you. It is a waste of my time. I was just like, I'm not really this demon-looking thing. I'm really not scary. I'm not anything. I'm just an idea, and you know that. So, fuck, like, what am I really... Like, you already know I'm nothing. I know. He's nothing. Nothing. But a couple fucking letters and some energy that shows up when you say them. And it was polarized in a certain direction. It was doing a certain thing. And, you know, I think a certain part of it, too, is like these different aspects of the reality get programmed in those directions, and they're just kind of locked into it until you do something else with them. So now we're doing something else, and I don't have to fucking worry about him. You know, granted, from a different place, you know, even 6 months ago, that it might not have been a great idea. But from this place, 6 months later, as I've really, like, you know, just gotten through that hate, I love myself. I'm a good guy. I love you guys. I care. I show up every day, my podcasts, all these things. I do it because I love people. You know, knowing that, accepting that about myself. No, I love people. I'm good. I'm a good egg. There's no reason why I should die for no reason. Like I like movies and friends and experiences, and I want to experience things, and I want to interact with the people that I love. So no, there's no whisper that they can give me anymore that'll make me go, oh yeah, that's right, I suck, because I'm over that. And that was the last vestige of how they were getting a hold of me. You know, maybe they'd try this time. They'd be like, oh, your parents don't like you. And maybe there'd be a small part of me go, oh, maybe sometimes I piss them off. You know, everybody, sometimes you feel like you piss your parents off, or, you know, you're not as perfect as you'd like to be. And but I would get through that, you know, and that's not really like, that's not my cross to bear. My cross to bear was way more like hating myself. So since I'm through that, it's done. It's over. And, you know, as I got through that and really had, because I've been thinking about this in so many different ways, not thinking about it in so many ways, when I go to meditate, my spirits on the other side, they just will bring this to me over and over again and just go like, this is a big deal. You got to show people how to do this. You got to show people that they have no power. And like I said, this was an early realization for me. So to a certain degree, I'm like, really? Is it that big a deal that, like, I recognize that they don't have any power? Yeah, especially now that you're not really susceptible. You're not susceptible to them anymore because the avenues that they were exploring to exploit you are gone. So I want you to be able to, one, become aware of what's going on here, the sort of them feeding on your negativity and the loops that you may be in. Empower yourself for whether or not that was scary. But no, nothing's scary or spooky. Invisible shit can do a couple little things, but they're not powerful. You're powerful. And these bad loops that you're in, hating yourself or hating others or whatever it might be, it's being fed upon, powered by these invisible, archonic type beings. And I want you to no longer be on the menu for any of these beings. And as you just begin to just step into the fact that you're aware that they aren't powerful, step number one, baby, you have just majorly empowered yourself and your consciousness right from there, just with that. I refuse to feed them. And so should you. I want to go back to talking about, just real quick, for artifacts and superstitions, lucky rabbit's foot, cursed coin, haunted objects, talismans, or like a lucky rabbit foot, doubles, same thing. The object has no power, okay? It's your belief that activates it. You're like, oh man, I need a lucky rabbit's foot, or that's my lucky number, or whatever it is. Your belief. It's all your belief. Oftentimes when it comes to numbers, there will be a certain amount of like built-in power to a number for you as a being, because at the end of the day, a lot of what you are is math. You are a mathematical sound wave, or, you know, however you want to look at it, a vibratory energy that has some math built into it. So, you know, you believing in something that has a built-in place in your world will actually, like, those two things will line up with one another, and that will make it that much more powerful. To know that when I see a 148 right now, that is synchronicity that is meaningful to me in some way. But granted, I'm not, 148, you number, you're so powerful, or whatever else. No, it's just, that came up, that's important. You know, a respect for information, things like that, that's fine. It's the giving away your power to the numbers, to the object, to the being. You are the power. The number is just a mirror showing you, various things. And that's the same thing that goes for demons and angels. Okay, you're sitting there praying to an angel, and I'm not dissing the angels, because there's lots of angels who will come along and they will try to uplift you. They will try to encourage you and all these different things. It's you. You are the one that does the upliftment to yourself. It's the fact that you're believing, you're putting power into those angels to lift you up. Now, the way that I have been told directly by God is that it's the same thing with him. He is not physically in this. He's not embodied. God is the fish tank that we're all in, right? We're the cosmic fish tank. We exist inside it. But it's the physical reality that has the power, that has the magic. And God keeps telling me, you've come into like a moral balance. I would never hurt anybody for no good reason. I might match energy or defend depending on the circumstance. But my intention is good for everybody. I know that we're all one being, ultimately. I know that you being happy helps me to be happy. I know that you being prosperous helps me to be prosperous. I want goodness for everybody. And having come into a real clean, not egoic, I'm not worried about other people showing me up or anything. Like, generally speaking, I'm at peace. I'd like my brother to have great success. That would make me happy. And that's not to say that like I wouldn't want success, but I'm not going to put the brakes on somebody else so that I can get there first or something like that. You know what I mean? So from a place of real balanced sovereignty, of a oneness consciousness where we're all helping each other out, God is saying, I need you to embody me. I need you to be God. I'm here on the outside. Can I affect some things, some synchronicity, some energy, whatever? Yes, I could. But really the most powerful thing is for you to have fully connected to the divinity within you, me, and through you, me, be allowed to be on display in every action you take and every word that you speak. So even God, to some degree, is like an Archon in that it's influencing things, and it can influence things, but it doesn't actually have a lot of power here. It made this thing so that we could have free will, so that whatever, could experience itself through us. But as long as you're confused and you're not treating everybody like you're one with them, and you're fundamentally flying in the face of the way God, sort of designed things, and don't get hung up about that design, because it's like, it's more like a necessary part of the way things were created. God is every shape and every idea and everything, whatever. This just happens to be one configuration of it. When you read something in the Bible or whatever, oftentimes it seems like this is the only way. No, God makes things all different sorts of ways. The only thing that is consistent when it comes to God is everything in all things. And therefore, you do unto others as you would have them do to you. Really, that's the thing. And that's ultimately the only really important one. Once you're there in this balanced state, well, as at the highest guidance that I have right now as a decade and a half meditator, communing with these spirits, communing with God, is that God wants me and others like me to act as himself, as he would, as it would be if they were here, because they are here, but through us. So as we're poisoned and we're a little bit off of our rocker as far as how things are supposed to go, we're not able to embody that, but we can bring into reality that godliness, right? And the angels, they're not like meaning to trick us. They're sort of allowing us to trick ourselves and take the idea of them or the idea of God as an empowering thing and then use that to empower ourselves. But again, we're not getting our power from God or from the angels. We might be getting the power from the idea of them, but all of the power, all of the execution, it comes through us. We could decide that our power came from a rutabaga, and we would still be empowered just the same. The mechanism for what you believe in to bring yourself this power, it doesn't matter. It could be Baal, it could be an angel, it could be a rutabaga. It could be this rock. This is the best rock, gives me magic powers. But at the end of the day, it's all you. It's all what you're choosing. So, real quick, and we're getting towards the end. Religions and control systems. Now, many traditions, they repackage archons basically to keep followers obedient. You know, it's like they're assigning all of these. To some degree, you could say that like the Bible assigned all of these angels all of these different things, and now these archons have been assigned these different things, and then we go, oh, Archangel Michael, I heard that you do blah blah blah. Can you do that for me? And it's a crutch. They've given you a crutch, a lucky coin, and that lucky coin, the agent of orphans, and now I feel protected. Don't worry, I'm protected by Archangel, whoever the fuck he is. Right? So they're playing this game with using these things to give you something to go off of. And I mean, it's really kind of a dirty trick, because what would be the right thing to do would be to tell you, hey, ideas have no power over you. You are the idea that matters, the one that has a body. Whatever you believe, you will achieve. Just hold that belief or whatever. And granted, some people go, yeah, well, I believe this and that and the other thing, and like I'm going to change it. Yeah, probably because you have a lot of momentum built up in another direction. You had a lot of belief that went this way, and then all of a sudden you changed your belief. Well, that's cool. You turn things around, but you've only been heading the opposite direction for a moment. You may need to continue to head in that direction for a lot longer period of time, very strongly believing and very faithfully believing something that you don't really get any support or any evidence of for a while, until you actually see the results. Because momentum is a thing. How much was put into the lifting of this ball to the left, and then it swings across to the right, and I can't just turn around until it completes the momentum. It's still going in that direction. Granted, if halfway through it going in that direction, I turn around and I start trying to pull it back the other way, it's still going to go where it's going. But I am starting to put energy into the swing back the other way. And when that swing hits, all of that energy and momentum that I've put into it will help empower me forward through there. Just think of like the threat of hell, or eternal damnation, punishment, demonic attack. It's a fear loop. Oh, you're gonna go to hell. This. It's all just ideas that are going to keep you looping in a certain system and giving your power away to other beings. Fear equals control. Empowerment dissolves that control. And that's what I'm here doing for you today. I'm here going, I'm not saying Jesse's the only one who could do this. Jesse's so fucking cool. I am saying that I've been fortunate enough that I've had some luck in this area that came pretty naturally to me. The idea that, like, don't give them any, don't feed them. Don't feed the trolls. Don't give them your energy. And I've tried to do that. But even me, with that idea, I still was feeding them for a little while with my insecurities. But this is not just about me. This is me trying to give some of my experiences to empower you and go, you can do it too. Okay? So hearing me say this isn't special to me. I'm not special. Okay? I mean, I am. You're special. I'm special. We're all special in our own ways. But I mean, I'm not special in this mechanism of the universe. I'm just a mental being just like you. You are capable of handling this the same way that I do. Maybe you'll even do a better job. Who knows? I hope you do. Good luck. Satan and, the devil archetype. Not a singular being, but like a mythic condensation of the Archon pattern to some degree. Because, like, if you think about it, like the devil and Satan, it's like he's the pinnacle. It's the pinnacle of the evil. Again, this is an idea that gives a polarity to the thing that we're talking about, puts all of these demons and stuff on a spectrum. And what's at the tippy top of the spectrum? Satan! djinn, the tippy top of the spectrum. And then what's at the tippy top of the other spectrum? God, and then somewhere along the way is some angels, and somewhere along the way for the Satan is the demons or whatever else. This is just a pattern of these energies that are feeding on you and demonstrating the far right and far left of what they can manifest as, even up to God talking to you, trying to guide you the right way. But it's you physically acting as God the way that God would like to that actually brings that into existence. Okay? It's like whatever adversary you might be fighting or feeling like you're fighting or feel like you're up against, it's just the story that we're telling ourselves when we forget our own divinity, when we forget that we are ultimately representative of God, a piece of it that was part and parcel and exactly like it, but just a small portion of it. And now here we are manifest and we're confused in whatever way. No, we got to get back to our own divinity, to your divinity. You are the power. The great deception is mistaking shadow for power. They want you to think they're gods, rulers, fate. They do know a certain something. They're detached from things. They could tell you the future, show you a possible future. They can fuck with you. They do have some information. They have some access to some things. But that doesn't change anything because you have access to things too. You have an inner intuition. If you completely trusted your intuition, you would never need access to information. You would know that the information was always there when you needed it, as you needed it. It was just showing up and everything was always right all the time, right? But these guys, they could start to pull the things out. Oh, no, you're going to move forward without knowing where the road leads? I could tell you where the road leads. And they'll use anything to convince you they're gods, rulers, fate, whatever. In truth, they're only reflections of your own doubt. The second that you recognize this, game over. It's done. Disempowerment can be used as exorcism. True exorcism is recognition. You have no power here. Remember that great line from Lord of the Rings? They kept channeling that to me when I was meditating, when I was getting a lot of this stuff. You have no power there. King Theoden King, right? He's the real creepy guy. You have no power here. And Gandalf's like, get out! That's it. That's the truth. Get out. You have no power here. Laugh at them, ignore them, withdraw consent, starve them of worship, and they vanish. Just like that. It's essentially like, a scavenger, but there's no more food left. Well, let's get out of here. The thing that I wanted is gone. They don't have what I want. It's over. Boom. On to somebody else. Somewhere else where maybe we can feast. Maybe there is food. Look, the core truth is this. You are the sovereign light source. They are powerless without your agreement. Remembering this ends their reign instantly. And that's it, my friends. Archons exposed. Scam revealed. Curtain pulled back. These little parasites don't get to run the show. Not anymore. And just so they can hear it, let me say it clearly. Fuck you, you little pussies. You've been feeding off of fear, superstition, and lies for way too long. But your game is over. You've got no power here. You've got no power here. And you've got no power over Earth ever again. We see you. We name you. and you're done. Now, before I sign off, if you want to stand shoulder to shoulder with me in building a world that isn't ruled by parasites, here's how you do it. Kickstarter. In just a couple weeks, I'm launching 2 massive projects. The first one will be Jesse Blaze's Solfeggio Transmissions, a record crafted in healing frequencies designed to align, energize, and empower. Music that does the opposite of the Archon game. It gives you back your energy instead of stealing it. Type in Jesse Blaze Snider, and you will find something that says it's a box set of all my music. It's just going to be the Solfeggio Transmissions with a bunch of other cool bells and whistles. Like, we're giving away free samplers and like a bunch of really cool things. If you like music and you like me, sign up for notifications for that. And then Sugar and Bones Magazine, our new creative culture magazine and comic anthology. It's packed with stories, art, myth that actually will feed your soul and not harvest it like these motherfucking Archons. Also, podcasts. If you dig my voice and you want more, you've got options. Coolest Geek Alive, my deep dive entertainment show where we celebrate and critique the culture we love. Twice a week. Saturdays, I do coolest picks, coolest classics. I did my first instant classic this past weekend for a movie called, Niza 2. It's a sequel to a Chinese animated movie. It's fucking amazing. Niza 1 is okay, but Niza 2 is incredible. Highly recommend listen to that episode. You get the recommendation there fully. And then every Wednesday, I either gush about things that I love in the geek culture community, or I just kind of tear apart everything that's going on in the entertainment sphere right now. Plus, I got All Your Favorite Bands Suck. That's my other podcast. 55 episodes, which is 55 bands that I love. A whole celebration of music that shaped me. It's not on Spotify right now because we got bounced. I gotta fix the show so we can get it back on Spotify, but it's available everywhere else that you can find podcasts. And of course, every Monday you can come back here for another mind-blowing dose of everything they don't want you to know. So, to the Archons, hear me one more time. Your grip is broken, your lies are dust, and the age of feeding is fucking done. To everyone else, keep shining, keep laughing, keep creating, and keep remembering that you are the source. I'm Jesse Blaze Snider. This is everything they don't want you to know. I'll see you next week. Peace.
There's something in the water. There's something in the air. The proof is all